All right, so today is all about learning outcomes data automation. So it kind of goes hand in hand with yesterday, just creating systems in Canvas that are really going to cut down on your time and give you the information that you need in order to make your instructional decisions. I know a lot of districts are moving towards standard-based grading if they haven't gone there already yet. But what I find is even if your district is using standard-based grading, getting that feedback on what standard students are meeting and not usually comes at the end of a quarter, which is like too late to actually go back and do intervention. You have to try to fix it the following quarter, and then you're just backed up. So in Canvas, I love to show teachers how to use a key feature in Canvas called Mastery Learning Gradebook, just in a sense to show you as a teacher where students are with each standard that you are teaching based on the assignments that you have aligned to those standards. So it's all within your hands and your decisions. If you happen to need this data for standard-based grading, for any data meetings, any IEP meetings, it is readily available for you to run reports on any specific student anytime. So it's helpful in multiple different ways. All right. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we have the Learning Outcomes Data Automation Guide. This is from day 2 in the workshop. And I want to show you on the left-hand side, this is a picture of what it looks like, obviously without the red boxes, when you have this feature set up and aligned to certain assignments. So at the top row here, you're going to access this in your gradebook. I'm going to show you how to do that. But this is like a different view. So you have your normal regular gradebook, and then whenever you want to see this data, you just change the view to Learning Mastery, and it will show you based on standard what your whole class average is, any particular students where they're at, and then the number of assignments that they have mastery of that you've aligned to that standard. So over on the right-hand side, you can see the 4 different categories here. Okay, so it's just a quick glance to see how our students doing, right? As a teacher, I would say, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, standard 2.2, excuse me, they need a little bit more, bless you, a little bit more support. What are we gonna do to bring that up? So it's really just helpful real-time data, which is what we need if we're gonna make instructional decisions, right? And again, this is completely automated. So you're not going in there plugging in scores or like Canvas does this for you. So let's get into that. On the left-hand side here, still in the guides, the second piece I want to point out is this is all done through outcomes. And that's what Canvas calls standards, essentially, is learning outcomes. So those two things go hand in hand. A standard is an outcome, okay? And I have some pro tips about when we're setting up outcomes that I'll share with you. And then we'll go into my 3-step auto-align strategy, okay? So the first thing that you'll do if you wanna set this up in your course is you wanna turn on Mastery Learning Gradebook. So you're gonna find that in course settings. Essentially, you're just enabling this in your course. And the 5 tabs at the top here, you're gonna find feature options, and you will find Learning Mastery Gradebook. It will be X'd out, excuse me, until you select it and click enable. It's turning it on for your course, okay? All right, once you have that feature now available in your course, now you can actually get started setting this up. So the first thing your Canvas course is going to need is what are the standards or the outcomes that you're gonna align to certain assignments. So you'll go to outcomes in the course navigation panel, and you'll see I have a couple, I will tell you, they just revamped this. It looks a little bit different. So you will see I have a couple set up here. Make it really easy for you to create a new group of standards if you want to keep them nice and categorized, like I have here. And then within the group, you can create new outcomes. Okay, and let me move. My video is in the way of my buttons. So you can see you can create a brand new standard right here or outcome. And essentially you're just copy pasting in your actual standards so that you have something to connect to assignments. I also want to show you that you can import a list of standards. Now the import is a little bit tricky because they want you to have it in a certain CSV file format. So really I leave that up to system administrators to build that report. And if they want to send that out to teachers for an easy standards upload, then that's what I would use for there. You can also check for some districts already have standards uploaded into their Canvas instance. So you can check in Find here in your account. It'll show you your school's account, and it will show if they already have Common Core state standards or actual state standards already uploaded into Canvas. They just haven't told you about it because they probably don't want to freak you out with anything more than what you need right now. But if you want to automatically already pull those into your course, that's probably the easiest way to pull standards in. Okay, so those are my pro tips. Okay, so that's with adding groups to keep them organized. It's like a folder. And then also check to see if your district has already uploaded those for you. Now, my other pro tip is to start with just one unit. Whenever I bring this strategy up to teachers, they're like, that is a lot of work. There's so many standards. Like, I'm going to spend all this time like aligning them. I'm like, just start with one unit. And I suggest starting with your favorite unit because that always makes things more fun. Start with your favorite unit. Find the standards that are going to align to that unit, 5 or 6 standards maybe. And just add those into outcomes and work with those within the assignments to get things started to see if it's really going to work for you. So I did want to show 2 different things here. This is Common Core state standards. Common Core standards, there's mostly, so like before Common Core, we have the anchor standard and like a bunch of substandards. Common Core state standards, there's not a ton of substandards. They're just like anchor standards. So this actually makes it easier just to grab, copy, paste this into Canvas. Okay, so you want to essentially get all of these standards with the correct heading or the correct numbering into an outcome. So let's say, for example, I'm working on, let's just pull this. Yeah, let's just one. Okay, so we'll grab this one, copy it. I'm going to go back so I can see the correct numbering. It's, what's the name? Excuse me. Reading Language Arts and History 910.2. So I'll go back to the outcomes. I'm going to create a new group. I'm going to call this and then within that one, create the actual. I do like this because you have your standard numbering, and then you can give it like a student-friendly name of the standard. So this one is all about specific textual evidence to support. So we'll call this evidence to support. Okay, paste it in here. Okay, you can also give a student-friendly description for parents or student display. And then you can actually rank your mastery. So if your school has certain points or, like a grading scale that doesn't match these numbers, you can change that. Proficiency or mastery is set for 3 as default. Okay. Decaying average is it's fine. It's going to take the average of how they did on all the assessments that you have aligned. And that's it. I'm going to hit save at the very bottom here. And now we have our new standard. So once you have your standards in outcomes, you're going to be able to connect them to any assignment, quiz, or discussion by connecting it to a rubric that you already have attached to that assignment. Okay, so what I want to show you on the left-hand side here is my guide. For the standards, I like to point this out. For the standards that have an anchor standard and then a bunch of substandards, and they don't want to have to list all of the substandards in addition to the anchor, I suggest that they create a mastery rubric, meaning you go to your rubrics, you can create a rubric completely around this standard here. So I have the name of the anchor, I have each substandard here, and then I have the actual outcome connected to this rubric so that you can pull this mastery rubric to any assignment that has a connection to any of these. And then once you have it connected to your assignment, you can just click on the edit button. I'm trying to find it over here. You pull this rubric and connect it to your assignment. That's how to do it. I'll walk through the steps, but you can hit edit on any of your rubrics that you've connected to an assignment, and then just delete any of the sub standards that don't relate to that particular assignment. That way you're not starting a rubric from scratch. Okay, so you have the substandard that is connected to the assignment, you have the actual overall anchor standard or the outcome connected to that assignment, and then you can go ahead and add any of the other grading criteria that you may have for that particular assignment. So it's just a really good way to be a quick start for any rubric that you're going to create. And you're also going to have direct alignment to your standards. So that is what I suggest when you have standards that look like this, when there's a bunch of substandards and you don't have to add them all into your outcomes. Okay. All right. So let's say that we have, once you have your outcomes done, and let's say that you don't have any of these substandards here, you have your outcomes in. Now you can go to any assignment, go back to modules here, go to any assignment, let's say this one, and we are going to scroll down to the bottom. On any assignments in Canvas, the rubric, the add rubric button is found at the very bottom. On any discussions, it's going to be found in this top right triple dots. It's going to say add rubric for discussions, and quizzes will also be in a triple dots. Okay. So add a rubric. Okay. So let's say I'm going to find a rubric I've already created, maybe that one that I built out for a mastery rubric. Find it. It's going to give you a long list of all the courses that you have under your name. And it's going to give you all the rubrics that you've built already in that course. Okay, I want that one. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and it's kind of hard to find. So find in the bottom right-hand corner, hover over it, and you can drag it open, and then you can find use this rubric. Okay, so I'm going to hit edit. I'm going to say, yes, I want to edit it. Two things. One is, like I said, again, if you have any of these standards that you're like, you know what, this is not going to work for this assignment, you can hit this garbage pail icon and it will take it away completely. If you already have a rubric that doesn't have any standards or outcomes connected to it, then you're just going to go down to the very bottom of the rubric. You're going to find the find outcome button. Okay. So if you find an outcome in the group that you've associated with, so find the outcome, select import, it's now going to connect any outcomes you want to this rubric. And this is what connects it to the Mastery Learning Gradebook that you have, okay? So connecting an outcome to a rubric that is connected to an assignment is going to align that assignment to that outcome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. One thing I do like to point out that a lot of teachers miss is that you have to find this checkbox that says use this rubric for assignment grading. If this is not checkboxed, you cannot use this this rubric for grading, and it won't show up in the speed grading.
Check that box.
Yeah, you got to find that box. Okay. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. I'll hit update rubric. So this little message is just saying that the point value of my assignment is different from my rubric. Do I want to match the two or leave them different? Okay, I'll just say leave different for right now. Okay, and you're ready to go. So you have your rubric attached along with, looks like 2 outcomes or 2 standards aligned to this assignment, which means in that Mastery Learning gradebook here, you're going to see the assignment listed. Okay, so what I love about Mastery Learning is that it shows for students as well. So students will be able to switch between their regular gradebook where they can only see their grades, and they'll have an option to look at their Mastery Learning gradebook, which will show them the standard all of the assignments that go to that standard and how did they do on each of those assignments. So it's very clear for students and parents how they're doing on meeting each standard. Okay, completely automated. So when you're in your gradebook, if you ever want to look at your Mastery Learning gradebook, you're going to select the gradebook drop-down menu here and find the Learning Mastery, and it will switch it to Learning Mastery side. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions about this?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I also want to show you that in the bottom right-hand corner, you can export this report if you ever need this data on your computer to print out, anything like that. Okay. How do you think that this will affect your standard-based grading requirements, or just being able to see the data before you have to report it?
I mean, it's gonna be very helpful because we're doing more performance-based, so, world language class,
Sure.
performing how you speak, your reading, writing, listening.
Right.
Listening is really hard to measure, but
Yes.
test the comprehension.
Right.
But also, I'm hoping they already have our standards there. They had it in It's Learning. They had it, and they
Okay.
really
Yeah.
didn't have it in. There's no way of doing it in Google Classroom, but
Right.
it was nice to have that feature. So hopefully
Yeah.
they already have that for us. We don't know. I won't know until August.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they've already had it in It's Learning and your district has already been like a standard-based grading district, most likely they'll have that already input for you, and you'll be able to go in, select like your grade level or the set of standards that you want. You won't have to import all of them and pull that in there. And then it's just literally a find outcome on each of the rubrics that you want to connect it to. So be pretty quick for you. And then you have your data already calculated and ready to report for you.
I have rubrics already made. Is there any way you can import rubrics, or can you cut and paste from,
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question. You have rubrics already made in Canvas or somewhere else?
somewhere else? They're mostly on Word documents.
Yeah. So I will say I have not found a way to convert like word processing based rubrics into the Canvas rubric. What I've had to do is just copy paste each cell in the rubric, and then it's ready to go. It's set and you can use it forever. But yeah, initially it's going to have to be a build it out type of situation.
Okay.
Okay.
And once it's done, you can reuse them though.
You can reuse them. You can pull them to another course. Oh yeah. Once it's in there, you're going to be able to leverage it for years. Our Friday sessions in this workshop are just meant as office hours, meaning you can be in that Canvas sandbox, building, working, and having myself there with you to answer any of your questions. Like you can share your screen and I can help you with anything that you are building. Okay.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. It's
you
just really
might
nice.
help me, or you might help formulate the questions I really need to ask the IT people, the technology department.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I will say the toughest part about using Canvas support, if you guys have access to Canvas support people or even your own tech support people, is that you don't really know like what to ask. It's like hard to reference what is there or what you need to have happen if you don't have a ton of experience in it. Anytime you go into the rich text editor, which is the tools that you get whenever you edit something in Canvas. So you're going to find a little plugin. These are all of the tools that your school has an account with that you can just literally click it and hit find what you want and then insert.
Yeah, because we have YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube block all the videos.
Yeah. So it might only allow, edutube or whatever they call it. But we have like films on demand for educational films, things like that. So you're going to find the tools that your district has an account with anytime you are in editing mode in Canvas for really quick access. Okay.
And I did play with Flipgrid, or they call it the grid now. You have to embed this is not bad because it takes the kids directly to the platform once you play the class. So it's not that
Right.
It's pretty streamlined. It's not like
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So if you have anything that you want to try to embed in Canvas, I do know how to embed the iframe code. which is what like any interactive or video has when you say like embed this. And I can show you how to embed that in your Canvas course during office hours.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. We can play around. We can see so that you'll be ahead of the game.
Okay.
Okay.